In the dim glow of a daycare nap room, a black teacher lay on the cold floor, her body curled protectively around a restless infant. The baby, fussy and unwilling to sleep alone, had found solace only in her gentle embrace. Little did she know, a hidden camera captured this quiet act of devotion. When the billionaire father, a man whose empire spanned continents, reviewed the footage later that night, his world paused. What he saw wasn't just an employee doing her job, it was a profound display of kindness that pierced his guarded heart. Why had this stranger gone so far for his child? And what would happen when he confronted her? This moment would unravel. A story of hidden struggles, unspoken prejudices, and a transformation that proved true wealth lies not in bank accounts, but in the human spirit. Prepare for a tale that will tug at your heartstrings and restore your faith in unexpected heroes. The Sunshine Daycare Center, nestled in a bustling city neighborhood, its colorful walls and playful murals a haven for working parents' little ones. At its core was Aisha Thompson, a 28-year-old black teacher whose passion for children shone brighter than the sun in the center's name. Raised in a modest family where money was tight but love abundant, Aisha had pursued early childhood education with determination, earning her degree while working multiple jobs. Now, she poured her heart into the daycare, treating each child as if they were her own. Her warm smile and patient demeanor made her a favorite among the toddlers. But life wasn't easy. Low pay, long hours, and the constant juggle of her own. Dreams deferred. Among the children was little Ethan, a 6-month-old bundle of energy with big brown eyes and a cry that could melt hearts or test patience. His father, Marcus Hale, was a self-made billionaire whose tech company revolutionized communication apps. At 40, Marcus was a force in boardrooms, his schedule packed with meetings and mergers. Ethan's mother had passed during childbirth, leaving Marcus to navigate single parenthood amid his empire building. He relied heavily on the daycare, dropping Ethan off early and picking him up late, his interactions brief and businesslike. The staff whispered about him. Intimidating, distant, always in a suit that screamed power. Aisha noticed Ethan's restlessness from day one. The infant struggled with naps, often waking in tears, his tiny fists clenched. While other teachers followed protocol, placing babies in cribs and letting them self-soothe, Aisha couldn't bear it. She believed in comfort over convenience, often rocking him extra or humming lullabies her grandmother taught her. The daycare director, Mrs. Ellis, a no-nonsense woman with a preference for strict routines, eyed Aisha's methods warily. "Stick to the rules," she'd warn, her tone laced with unspoken judgment. Other staff, mostly white and from more affluent backgrounds, exchanged glances when Aisha stayed late or went the extra mile. Whispers of overstepping floated in the break room, tinged with the subtle biases that Aisha had learned to navigate her whole life. Despite the undercurrents, Aisha focused on the children. Ethan, in particular, tugged at her heart. He reminded her of her younger brother, whom she'd helped raise. Marcus, oblivious to the daycare dynamics, installed hidden cameras after a news story about child neglect, his protective instincts kicking in. He reviewed the footage sporadically, more for peace of mind than suspicion. Little did anyone know, these cameras would capture a moment that would bridge worlds divided by wealth and color. As weeks turned to months, Ethan's attachment to Aisha grew. The infant's cries lessened when she was near, his chubby hands reaching for her during playtime. Aisha's colleagues noticed, some with envy, others with skepticism. "She's too involved," one teacher, Lisa, murmured during lunch, her eyes darting to Mrs. Ellis for approval. Lisa, a veteran at the center, followed protocols to the letter, her approach efficient but detached. Aisha overheard the comments but brushed them off, her focus on the children's needs. One particularly tough day, Ethan teethed fiercely, his gums swollen and his wails unrelenting. The other teachers avoided him, citing tough love, but Aisha scooped him up, soothing him with a cool cloth and soft words. Mrs. Ellis pulled Aisha aside that afternoon. "You're coddling him too much," she said, her voice sharp. "Parents expect independence, not dependency." Aisha nodded respectfully, but inside she disagreed. Babies needed love to thrive. The tension simmered, fueled by unspoken prejudices. Aisha felt the stares when she arrived in her modest car or shared stories from her neighborhood. "She's good with the kids, but—" The unfinished sentences hung in the air. Meanwhile, Marcus's life spun faster. A major deal loomed, his nights blurred with work. Ethan's reports from the daycare were positive, but he barely registered the details, trusting the system he'd paid for. One evening, as closing time approached, Ethan refused his crib, his cries echoing through the empty rooms. The last teacher left, glancing back with a shrug. Aisha, alone on shift, tried everything: rocking, feeding, walking. Exhausted, she lay on the mat beside his crib, holding his hand through the bars, humming a gentle tune. Ethan's sobs quieted, his eyes heavy. Without thinking, Aisha shifted to the floor, her body a barrier of comfort, and they both drifted off. The camera above captured it all: the teacher's sacrifice, the baby's peace. Marcus, reviewing footage late that night in his penthouse office, paused at the scene. His brow furrowed. Why was the teacher on the floor? Was something wrong? He replayed it, noticing Aisha's gentle touch, her weary but content expression. Something stirred in him, a mix of curiosity and concern. The next day, he arrived early, observing from afar. Aisha interacted with the children effortlessly, her laughter genuine. But he also caught the side glances from staff, the way Mrs. Ellis hovered critically. Marcus's business acumen kicked in. He sensed imbalance. Over the following days, tension built. Lisa complained to Mrs. Ellis about Aisha's unprofessional methods, citing the floor incident she'd overheard. "It's not sanitary," Lisa said, her tone superior. Mrs. Ellis nodded, planning a formal warning. Aisha, unaware, continued her routine, her bond with Ethan deepening. Marcus, intrigued, dug deeper into the footage, seeing Aisha's dedication amid the staff's indifference. He began questioning. Why did she care so much? His own loneliness echoed in Ethan's cries. Perhaps this teacher held a key. The whispers reached a peak when Mrs. Ellis confronted Aisha. "You're on thin ice," she warned. "Follow protocol or find another job." Aisha's heart sank, but she stood firm. That night, Ethan fussed again, and Aisha, defiant in her compassion, lay beside him once more. Marcus, watching live via app, decided it was time to act. The daycare's nap room was hushed, the only sound Ethan's soft breathing as Aisha lay on the floor, her arm draped protectively over him. Exhaustion had claimed them both, a picture of pure devotion. Marcus burst in unannounced, his presence commanding. "What is this?" he demanded, his voice echoing. Aisha jolted awake, her eyes wide with fear. Ethan stirred, whimpering. She scooped him up instinctively, soothing him back to sleep. Marcus's anger softened at the sight, his son calm in her arms. "Explain," he said, softer now. Aisha stood, her voice steady despite the tremble. "He wouldn't settle. The crib felt too cold, too alone. I couldn't let him cry." Marcus's mind raced. The footage, her dedication, the staff's complaints. "The others say you're overstepping." Aisha met his gaze. "They follow rules. I follow hearts. Your son needs comfort, not protocol." The truth hit Marcus like a wave. This woman, underpaid and undervalued, gave what his wealth couldn't buy: genuine care. Shame washed over him for his detachment, for ignoring the biases in his chosen daycare. You've been the only one truly there for him, he admitted, his voice cracking. In that moment, the billionaire saw not a teacher, but a savior. The confrontation turned to revelation, setting the stage for change. Marcus's world shifted after that encounter. He confronted Mrs. Ellis the next day, demanding explanations for the staff's treatment of Aisha. "She's the best here," he declared, citing the footage. Mrs. Ellis stammered, her biases exposed. Marcus withdrew Ethan and funded Aisha's dream, her own daycare center, emphasizing compassion over rigid rules. Aisha, overwhelmed, accepted, her center becoming a model of inclusive care. Marcus visited often, forming a bond with her, his gratitude, evolving into friendship. Ethan's first steps happened there, a symbol of growth. The story spread, inspiring others to value kindness over status. In the end, a simple act on a floor bridged divides, proving that true change starts with seeing the heart behind the action. What hidden heroes are in your life waiting to be recognized?